My name is Gorman, and in this episode of Semilla.VC, I sit down with Claudio Schlegel for a special episode to hear about a new perspective, the boss's boss, the LP. Claudio is a limited partner in 99 startups, Platanus Ventures, and Cometa. He's also an angel investor. In this episode, we discussed what the minimum LP investment is for LatAm VC funds, and how he's able to invest in them below their normal thresholds, what type of companies he invests in as an angel investor, and how Claudio provides real value to his portfolio companies. We talked about all this and more in this episode of Semilla.VC. Claudio, could you start by telling the audience a little bit more about your work history up to and including what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation, Trev. Great to be here. Basically, just to make the long story as short as possible, one of my best friends back from elementary school left to do high school in the US. But since our parents were neighbors, we lived in the same area, we would see each other pretty much every summer, every Christmas break. And we kept talking, seeing each other, hanging out. And when he finished his double major in Dartmouth back in 2009, he came back to Mexico because he decided he didn't want to become a private banker. He wanted to found a microloan financial entity here in Mexico to give loans to the bottom of the pyramid and start in Mexico City. So that's how we kind of reconnected in terms of job and entrepreneurship wise. And when he raised his first round of capital, that's when I said, hey, I have this money saved. I have no clue what to do with it. Here it is. Let's see what happens, And that was back in 2010. Back then, I don't remember anything similar as for venture capital ecosystem happening as it is now. And so we basically took the company from zero to today, over 500 employees, 85,000 women that we give credit loans to. It's been a great experience because it taught me really what a founder needs in terms of not only just like the money, but in terms of very hands-on approach of support. I think Latin America and especially Mexico, is where I have most of the experience. Still needs that one-on-one connection of people that will help you open a bank account, help you with just the everyday transactions that you have to deal with. So that experience with Platanus Ventures, which is a financial entity, just gave me a lot of insights what angel investing is without even knowing what angel investment was. Then I went on and invested in another financial entity. I did an MBA where I met Diego Vargas. He had just started raising his second venture capital fund called Five Capital 2. In that moment, I became an LP, and it just kind of like magic happened, where the Mexican venture capital scene was gaining momentum. I had this track record that kind of helped other companies via my advice, based on my knowledge and the connections that I had. And then I started investing directly with Diego in some companies, fell in love with it. And so of today, what I can tell you is that about 60-70% of my time, I try to just direct it into angel investing, but not only investing, trying to be a very hands-on investor for the very early stage companies that I'm with skin in the game.
Thank you for that background. And so could you tell the audience a little bit more about which angel investments you've made, some of the big names? And I would have mentioned some in the intro that I'll edit in, but could you just tell us like a little bit more about what are some of the themes in both the companies, the founders, things like that?
Yeah, well, big names, I guess, as of today, Aplazo is a pretty big name. They've raised a strong Series A with Kasek, Picus, One Oak, and I've been lucky to be an angel investor because one of the founders went with me to school here in Mexico. We even played tennis when we were like 6 or 7, so we know each other a long time. And I have 20 other investments. Some of them are fairly known in industry, like Pulsar. Who else could be Buo, Elevar Salud, Brandu. Then there's two in Colombia, which is FitHub by Habib Shar. Then there is another one called Luable in Colombia as well. I invested in, who else? Let me think. Midas Technology here in a financial robot advisor in Mexico. I mean, I could go on. There are a lot of the names I'm very happy to be working with, and it's been just a great experience in terms of just being able to invest in Latin America. Oh, I'm forgetting, for example, Maslow, which is also generating a lot of traction. They're from Argentina, and just getting to meet people from not only Mexico, from all over Latin America, and helping them when they're trying to come to Mexico and do that soft landing help has been also very, very fulfilling for me.
So let's really go back to basics on like what it means to be an angel investor, because I feel like a lot of people like hear the term, but I think a lot of people might not actually like understand what the economics are, me included. So like, what are the size checks, especially in Latin America, that you're giving? And like, do you get pro rata rights that you can exercise in future rounds? Do you do follow-ons, or how does, like, what are the economics of like your angel investments?
Okay, mainly for me, angel investing is about setting a certain amount of deals that you want to do a year. Set a size of check, which for me, I've defined it between the sweet spot of $25,000 to $30,000, because it's money coming from my own personal pocket. I have no LPs in my angel investment syndicate or anything, and basically just trying to focus on industries where I can actually add value. What I tell a lot of the founders is that there's gonna be problems with the company, and there has to be problems, otherwise there's something sketchy going on, you know. So when that problem arises, as an investor in an early stage, you want to be very hands-on on helping the founder solve that problem via your knowledge, via your advice, via your network, via a combination of all of those, so that you can help the founder just focus on the real problem that they're trying to solve and grow from there, you know. And sometimes the problems are that maybe the bank account got frozen, you know, and the founder, if he's coming from Argentina or from Chile or from Colombia, his network doesn't include a banker at the BBVA or a national bank in Mexico. So it might take him 3 or 4 months to just reopen that bank account or get the papers that he needs or whatever. So if I can add that value and just make the time, instead of 4 months, a week or less days, it's going to make all the difference in the world, not only for the founder and his time, but also for the company, you know. So that's what I try to focus on. And in terms of the follow-ons, what I found out is, even though I have my pro rata rights when that safe note gets converted, you know, I try to maintain during the pre-seed and seed process stages where I invest a very good relationship with the founders, so that if they're raising a small bridge before the Series A, I can do a double down actually there, you know. And since I've been involved with the company and I know how the company's traction is going, it will be a stronger return on my investment once they raise that Series A, instead of just doing a follow-on. So that's been kind of my play. And yeah, just knowing how much capital I can deploy into this investments and be very structured about that exactly.
And so then what type of founders do you like to invest in? What type of companies? And then if maybe a company fits that mold, how should they reach out to you, and when should they reach out to you?
Okay, so my thesis, and it's not something set in stone, written in stone. It's still flexible, but I try to focus a lot of my investments into fintech or fintech related companies. I'll give you examples. Aplazo, which is a buy now pay later, but then you have also another company that's a prop tech called Morgana that are right now brokers for house loans, and in the future they plan to expand that products and service to handing a part of the loan for the for buying a apartment, a house, or just some real estate. To that, it has this financial element as well. So I like to focus on that. Then I'm really enjoying seeing how HR tech and future of work is starting to become big in Latin America. And then that would be about 30%. And then maybe the rest of the 10% that's remaining, I just let it kind of free for amazing people and amazing founders that I find, because that's something you have to be, I believe, very open to as well. And what I like to do is, if someone's interested in me investing in the company, just reaching out via other founders. I think the best people can do is just give that as extra effort and try to find who's that common connection that standing between me and the founders, and have a good conversation. Start working without any commitment from each other of what the amount is going to be of the valuation, maybe the ticket size, and just see if there's a match between my way of executing things and bringing added value to the company. And lets me also see if the founders really execute as well as they say they execute, So once those maybe 4 or 5 months have passed and we start knowing each other better and start getting that trust and seeing that execution going, then talk about a possible valuation and a possible investment.
And I want to kind of shift gears only slightly and discuss being an LP in venture funds in Latin America, because I think that's another component of, people throw out the term angel investments, people throw out the term being an LP, but they rarely get the opportunity to talk to one on kind of the other side of the table. So you're an LP in 99, Platanus, and Cometa. Could you tell us a bit more about, how did you meet these funds? Why did you want to invest in them? And then kind of what the ticket size is to enter, and just a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cometa is the third fund of Varif Capital, so I already knew the partners there. I have a very good relationship with them, so it's something natural. I think that happens, that once you see Fund 1 doing good, Fund 2 doing even better, and then you start raising a Fund 3, then you get very involved with what they're doing. You see the added value that they bring to your table in terms of possible deal flow as an angel, that the checks that the startup is maybe expecting to find is much lower of what the fund's thesis can deploy. So it's for them, for example, for Cometa, a very natural play to send them over to me, so they can also have visibility of what the company is doing, and once they're ready for a Series A or a big series, a seed stage series size, they can deploy that size of check. So that's in the case of Cometa. And with Platanus, with 99, with the other funds that I'm involved with, it's been just also a very good learning experience for me, and it has, in personal terms, 2 avenues, I would say. One is I get to learn the best practices from each of the funds. Like Platanus has an amazing demo day that they do, how they find the companies, what they see in them. The managing partners, Paula and Joaquin, they're amazing people and have brilliant minds. I mean, the same with Alex from 99, just learning from their way of evaluating companies at such an early stage brings a lot of value for me as an angel. And then on the other hand, the other avenue I would tell you, Trip, is I get to get great deal flow from them as well. So before investing in Platanus, my deal flow didn't reach maybe Chile or Argentina that big, And then just by expanding this network and getting that recognition as an LP from the funds, you start getting the connections, and the ecosystem is still small, so it's very easy to get to know each other good and know what type of deals each person likes. So I get a pre-filter of great deals from them.
I love it. And then what is the average ticket size to get into some of these funds as an LP?
To be honest, and I hope they don't kill me for it, I've gotten very special deals from them, for Cometa, the average investment, I think it's over 250, 300K, but I was able to get in with $150,000 commitment. Then with Platanus, with 99, with the others, I'm trying to do as like an angel investment at between $25,000 and $30,000 commitment.
Very interesting. And then you have this opportunity as an angel investor and an LP, because to give kind of another perspective, like from the fund side. And so if as an LP, what would you say to funds who are like seeking to pitch LPs and seeking to fundraise from your side of the table? What would you say is like the things that you were looking at, the things that you want to see, and the things that maybe you don't want to see?
Yeah, I would say it's for me the same fundamentals that I see when getting pitched by a startup. You want to know the partners, you want to know who is running the show, who's executing exactly the fund as it's promised on a pitch deck. So it's, and I tell this a lot to like friends and founders. It's a lot like boxing, There are a lot of people that just box out of fun and they think they can box, but you don't want to hire those people as your bodyguard, because once a fight breaks out and they get hit in the face, all the plan is going to deviate. Like Mike Tyson used to say, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So you want to really see them executing it at the stress level and kind of stress that model to see if they're going to be able to deliver, because bad things are going to happen. It's something overall inevitable, and you want to know if the people running the show are really able to just take that pressure and execute in the best way possible, and actually ask for help from their LPs, because they're also involved and have skin in the game and that. And that would be the first thing. And the second thing and which I think is the most important, is also reputation. You have a reputation in a small still ecosystem that's growing, and if you lose that reputation, I think everything else falls apart. So you want to see in the past jobs or the school that they went to or the circle of friends that they have, kind of what the reputation is and what people think of them. And that's going to make all the difference for me as an investor, because compared to maybe institutional investors, I do it with a more strategical mind, that investment.
And you spoke at Universidad Panamericana and you talked to some students. What did you share with them?
Basically, what I like to share with them, it's not so much of a presentation, it's just the fundamentals that I see happening in the venture capital ecosystem, and then have a discussion with them, because I believe, and this I believe very strongly, that you get to learn from everyone. And the best way to learn from everyone is just letting them talk, letting them express their ideas, their fears, and their concerns, and then starting to get this feedback loop from both sides. If I express also my concerns, if I express my way of thinking, the way of evaluating companies and so on, and I can have also great feedback from people at a master's degree or I don't know, bachelor students or whatever. There is so much you can learn. So my idea was just basically trying to explain to them what I think is very important when you're building a startup, how, from my perspective, they're evaluated by investors, and then start getting in deeper into that based on how you can, as a company, pitch better, the fundamentals that you're trying to build, and what the investors is going to think about that, and what he's going to fear, or how they can start interacting.
And so I have a very kind of fun question, and you can take this however you want, work or otherwise. What are you most excited about right now?
The future. And it's it's a very broad thing, but I think listen, Latin America's venture capital ecosystem is still small compared to the US. There are very few companies where the founders have had either a partial exit or a complete exit. And I think that type of exits are going to start happening in the next 5 years, where the founders are going to start seeing good money from their work, from their risk, and even, let's hope for IPOs and so on. But what excites me about that is that that money that the founders get is going to be put back into the ecosystem. If not all, a fair amount. And that's just going to boom the ecosystem even more, And you see it in the States when there's a founder that sells his company for, I don't know, let's say $200 million, and then he has now a net worth of $30 million. He takes maybe $5 million and starts angel investing as well. And that skin in the game from those founders, plus their knowledge, plus their network, just brings gigantic value to the whole ecosystem, and especially for those companies that they invested at. So it's this positive feedback loop that just gets over and over and over.
I completely agree. And so finally, I have to ask Peter Thiel's famous contrarian question with a uniquely Semilla.VC twist. What is one important truth about Latin America that you believe that very few people agree with you on?
I think that Latin America has a lot of more talent that people actually think of. And it has so much potential that people are not seeing. And I'll give you 2 examples. I think first example is people think that only local people can start companies in Latin America. And I believe that's wrong. And I'm seeing a lot of people from Europe, from the US, from India, come into Mexico, see what's happening, and also see that movie that they saw maybe in the US or in Europe start playing in Mexico, and they know kind of how it's going to end, So that is very exciting for me and for them, because they kind of know the playbook that they have to follow in order to make something big. And the more people and diverse people that get into the ecosystem, the better for everyone. And I think there's some people that are still skeptical about that local talent, that there's no venture Latin American dream happening in Mexico and Latin America, That's the first thing. And then the second one is that you need to raise from venture capital in order to be a successful company. And I believe that to be completely wrong. And maybe what's happening at the moment with VCs being maybe skeptical or very slow in deploying capital is the best thing that can happen to the ecosystem, because it's going to clean out the people that are starting companies for the wrong reasons and for the wrong purposes. And also, you're going to make those founders that really want to achieve it struggle at a point where if they make it, the next struggle is not going to feel as hard as the past one, you know?
Excellent answer. Well, Claudio, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Semilla.VC podcast today. I very much appreciate your time.
No, it's amazing, and thanks for the time and the invitation as well, Trip.
Thank you for watching this episode of Semilla.VC. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you view the podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Gorman Trip. And be sure to check out our newsletter, Dealflow LA, which can be found by going to dealflow.la.